Hi, my name's Yoshi, and this is my 89 325 BMW. It's got an LS2 swap, 4-clutch LSD in the rear, an SLR angle kit, and some ground control coilovers.
All right, Yoshi, thanks, man, for coming on, man. So we're going to get right into it because we wasted a bunch of time, man. Again, sorry for being 24 hours early on you.
That's all right.
Prior, man. And you're probably like, what the hell is going on, man, when I messaged you the other day, man. But anyway, for guys out there that don't know, when I got into the drift game, I'm just going to do an introduction for his first time Yoshi's been on here. First time I got into the drift game, I started 2003, 2002, and I was like a poser. And then I met the guys on Slideways. I don't know which version of Slideways it was because it crashed multiple times, I believe.
Version 2.
And yeah, two times, two versions. I'm mixing you up with another guy who was going to be on here. These crashes formed so many times. But anyway, I met you guys. I think I'm not sure who I met first, but I was on Club 240 at the time. And I met somebody. Then I eventually met you, and you had the blue and black the E30.
Yep.
And you still have that car, or are you?
I kind of might have crashed it.
yeah. But anyway, man, around the time I met you, man, you were like it was the Teats brothers, Clayton, all those guys, man, and you were like I don't know what you were doing at that time. You were like kind of seemed like to me a Zen master, man, of the drift at that time, man.
Man, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue at all. I mean, I still don't.
Yeah, but anyway, guys, I met this guy. This is my first group of real drift friends. My first real drift event at ODS. I guess the first version of that. And yeah, man, and you were very welcoming and set the tone kind of for my style of drifting and as far as my attitude towards drifting, man. So it was great to meet you guys, and all you guys are helpful. Even when I blew my clutch at that event and changed it up right there in the parking lot. And I still, I'm in contact with like David and a few of those other guys there, man. So again, guys, this is Yoshi right here, man. As far as any information you want to get those guys on yourself, as far as your social media, before we get get into it.
So my social media Instagram is Protomor Drift, PROTOMOR Drift, all one word. You can just find me on Facebook or anything. Just look up Yoshi or Protomor and anything. Like you'll find me everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Roger that, man. So like since 2000, I think 2007 or 2008 was maybe the last time we seen each other.
Yep.
Like what's been going on since then, man?
So we did events at ODS from 2004 or 2005, and then they tore down the track to build houses, and there was some like contamination from the track. There was like coolant in the ground or something like that. So that apartment complex didn't get built until I think 2015, something like that. Like it's insane. So now it's apartment complexes, but it was like an abandoned track for a while. And I was looking to get out of holding events myself anyway. It's just kind of liability. People crash and they sue you. And I think the entire time I ran Slideways events, I think I made a grand total of $150 the whole time. And I was getting older. I wanted to buy a house, and I was getting married and stuff. And you can't just keep doing that. So when ODS started shutting down, a guy named Alex Sufi, who was an instructor at Summit Point, was like, "Hey, drifting's fun. You come out here and let me do this in the oval. Why don't we do it at Summit Point?" So I was like, "Cool. That sounds like fun. I'll come out." And I did a couple events there, and then we had a guy, Jens Scott. And he's an airline pilot right now. A really eccentric guy. He coined Drift Nirvana, and then he had a bunch of us like David Palomo, Dan Savage, and he got together a group of us to kind of like advise him on what drifting was, because they're all road racers. They don't understand what drifting is.
Right.
So since I think 2008, 2007 was the first like summit. Kind of overlapped a little bit with ODS days. I've been on kind of like their board of advisors, so I don't have the responsibility. Like if someone crashes, they sue the track and not me, which is nice, but also I don't get paid.
Right.
But I still advise of like what we should do, competitions, things like that. And then I drifted the E30 till about 2 or 3 years ago, when I, LS swap and whole 9 yards, and then crashed into somebody else because it was raining. Now it's same LS. Now it's in an E46, and I'm kind of the O-ring on the oil filter blew out, and I lost the engine.
Oh.
Yeah, first turn, all the oil just goes.
You probably like it was running. You didn't like see it until like a little after.
No, I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
Wrong kind of smoke.
I've done it before, but luckily I had a double O-ring before, and it screwed it all up between that, and I luckily seen it, and it ran for about a good maybe 2-3 minutes, and I noticed all my oil on the ground and everything, man. But yeah, it sucks, man. It seems like you've just been swapping engines for the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, I did. Well, the E30 was regular motor, turbo motor, blew that up. Then I went to an M50 motor, turboed that, blew that up. Then I went to first iteration of an M3 motor turbocharged, put out 550, 600 wheel horsepower, race motor, and then I was like, this is like undrivable. It was like full power or nothing. It was a monster. I had problems. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was like, you know what? LS. One cam, motor's compact and stuff, no turbos to worry about. I'll just swap that in and go, and that's not true. That's its own problems.
Yeah, and then what's, because I never asked, man, like what was the reason, your reasoning, or like I guess your motivation behind like using the BMW? Because it seemed like that's been your staple as far as I've known you. You've never had anything else with BMW.
I don't have brand loyalty as much as it looks like it. My first car was an E30. I was 18 years old. I didn't like driving. I hated driving. I didn't think there was a point in never having a car. I thought it was stupid. And I went to GMU at the time, and I lived with my parents, so I had to get 2 class. And literally, my dad pays his friend $5, a case of beer, to pull this car out of a mud pile on the side of his house. And that's what I went to school with. And I had to learn how to work on the car because it was a pile of crap. And you remember Clayton, and then my other buddy Mike at the time, and they were like, yeah, racing's fun and cool. You should come with us. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then like one night, they show up at my house, I think around midnight. They're like, hey, we found these really fun back roads to go on. You should come with us. And I was like, well, should be doing my homework. Let's go do this. So long story short, I rolled the car like over and over. I landed on the side. I had to get out like the passenger side window. I put huge gashes on the street, and this guy was driving by with his daughter. I'll never forget the look of his daughter's face. I'm bleeding. I smashed like those Broadway mirrors. I have one.
Yeah.
And when I had an accident, it went right into my temple, and so I'm just kind of bleeding, and this like 4-year-old girl's just.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, like Clayton was like, yeah, there's drift events down in Richmond. And I was like, what's drifting? He shows me some videos and stuff. And by that point, I had a Sentra, and I was like, well, can the Sentra do it? And he tells me, no, it's got to be rear-wheel drive. But your old E30 could have. So, I'm going to paraphrase the story. I wound up getting another E30 because I blew the engine on the Sentra looking at the E30. I was going to drive to look at this new E30, blew the engine. I was like, Dad, man, I spent like $5,000 on the Sentra. I've had it 6 months and it blew up. Buy me this E30. And then ever since then, I just beat the piss out of it. So until I crashed the car a couple of years ago, that was the same car the whole time.
Okay.
And then when I crashed the E30, I was like, well, you don't get an FRS, like IS300 kind of tickled my fancy. I was even thinking kind of like Mustang, maybe a Fox body. And the BMW stuff, like I already knew the motors, and they're just cheap. I can pick up an E46 in the States. Like E46 chassis go for like $500 to $1,000 in like good running condition. As opposed to like if I want to get an IS300 or anything, there's already some kind of like a luxury tax on it, or I wouldn't call it a drift tax, but they're just way too expensive. And then like an FRS, great. I'm gonna spend like maybe $10,000 on a car and just absolutely beat the crap out of it. And I would love to drive an FRS. That was probably my car of choice.
It seemed like they're coming, because you got the new one coming out, so it seemed like they're now becoming obtainable. I guess like a little fender bender. Just the way I'm going to get into one is somebody's going to have a small 40-kilometer fender bender and then put it on the auctions. And I've seen one up there before, and I just didn't have the cash at the time. But that's my way of getting into cars, man. I don't mind doing a little bit of core support damage or and that's you get a car for $2,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So like, far as you like here at the BMW and everything, then like Clayton, you met Clayton and stuff. I know you guys. So you guys went to school together? You and Clayton?
I actually went to high school at Clayton, and
Okay.
I hated him. He was such an asshole, and he's still an asshole, but I love him.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Like, I met both of you guys at the same time, man. And you were like, he was like daddy's in, and you were like baby's in, man. Because he just had like the calm, soothing approach. Like, yeah, you just kind of get in it, and then you feel it. And
Yeah.
I was like, this dude's a little weird, man.
Well,
and now he's in China, correct?
no, actually, he got back a couple of years ago.
Back?
Yeah, he did, I think, 8 years there, got a master's degree, and came back, and now he's still in the area. He comes drifting with us, but I think he's more into like grip driving now. Everybody kind of like starts in one kind of auto sport, and they dabble in other things. Like rally looks fun to me right now, and but I've always come back drifting.
Right, and I doubt he still has his A6 anymore, right?
So the 8.6 is in someone's like backyard rotting away. Like no, that was not a good 8.6. You could put 3 fingers through the rear shock tower.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and speaking of that, man, everybody who don't know, man, my 240, the S13 that I started in, Yoshi was the guy who put that one to rest, man, because I was just starting to bring it up, and then like I got orders to Japan, and I was like, I started getting money because the car was crap for many years. And then it was like polished crap after I started deploying and stuff like that. But the Yoshi got rid of that for me and broke that down and sent me the cash. And everything from that car went into one roll cage for my S13.
Well, you wrecked the S13 prior to you leaving, right? Because it was the driver's side shock tower separated.
Actually, that was separated just on its own. So then you see that plate I screwed in there? So that was just like nuts and bolts, because I went to a shop and they say, dude, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I need the car and everything. And actually I ended up fixing a few of the S13s with that same thing. I just kind of like patented that sheet and bolt method, fixing it, man. But it's like, again, man, it's crazy that, everybody kind of, they either grew up in it, stayed in it, or kind of went out, man. And like you're dad now, married. I'm a dad and married now, man. So it's like we get older. And but it's still there, man. So it's nice to see you still got the drive. You didn't give up and everything. I see the the chair and the steering wheel right there for the game sim. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, man. So what? Like you mentioned Drift Nirvana, which was my third drift event before I left, my third and only. And it was that track was at that time beyond my skill sets, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I came there with a lowly boosted KA I had the Archie 615 tires, way too grippy. I had to take those off because I couldn't even slide them on a skid pad. They were just too. Yeah. It was beyond my level, man. And I didn't listen to Charlie
peaky.
out there.
It was peaky.
Yeah.
It was like as soon as the boost came on, you spun.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And Charlie, I didn't listen to Charlie. I listened to Charlie a lot, but I'm gonna try to get him on here if he's into Charlie Tyson. And Charlie was like my very first drift mentor. And the thing about Charlie, I didn't know how involved he was with Japan. Yeah. He never mentioned Robbie, Heyman, none of that stuff. No, very modest guy.
He doesn't brag. You have to come to him. He's not one of those guys that'll sit there and kind of like spout all of his knowledge. You got to come to him with like a specific thing, and he gives you like that little like one Zen thing. There was one time where I was like, "How do I link these two corners?" And he just goes. What is that? And it worked.
That's straight Japanese right there. Like no communication. He just goes like this with the e-brake, man. Yep. Well, yeah, man. Charlie's an awesome guy, man. Always been from day one. So I definitely I ran into him 2 times over here in Japan, man, which was great. I seen him. I met him in Andrews Air Force Base, and I don't know what happened, but I went to the store, and then I see a Hachiroku parked outside, and then he was like, oh, you drift? I was like, yeah, whatever. And I was telling him, at this time I didn't know who he was. I'm saying all this hot boy stuff, and he's like, this guy, man, like he didn't mention nothing about nothing. No. And I go around the back, and he has like 3 more Hachirokus. I'm like, what the hell, dude? I'm like, what do you do, man? He's like, yeah, I'm a drifter too. And and he started getting me used tires and everything, and it was, he was like, do this, do that, run the air up, and he was giving me Hachiroku tech, spike the PSI and stuff like that, man. But yeah, so Drift Nirvana started and everything, and so you were definitely like a focal point in starting the first, like, the what's that, the 101, what is it, man, for the December event?
100 Drifters of December.
Yeah.
So that was back in the day when we were lucky to get like 30 or 40 people, and 100 Drifters wasn't really my idea. Like, for some reason those big ideas don't come to me. The guy who ran at the time, Jens, that was his thing, and he was like, man, if we could fill this place with 100 people, I would be happy. And so, and it was, I think he literally went down to the strip club, like down the street, and he paid the girls $100 each to get them to come be like umbrella girls and stuff. And so he would just wander through the pits during 100 Drifters. He's like, hey, I got a special 100 Drifters shirt, and he would sell it to you.
I remember.
And like, if you were a girl, he would give it to you for free if you put it on right then and there. And that was the kind of like atmosphere at first, where like they had like some energy drink sponsor. And
I remember that.
And that didn't pan out, and then he got ran off.
I remember that. I mean, for me, it seemed like a ton of people, because that was my first, because ODS, it was more of it seemed like it was more of the form guys, Slideways, and maybe a little bit, a few other people out there, but mostly everybody had Slideway shirts on, so it was all Slideways. But then when I went to it was Drift Nirvana, it was Dido was there from Techademics, and all these different. I think he had the BMW at the time, the yellow one. And it was like, of course, Dido was there, Dustin was there, I believe, and Charlie, and it was, it was just, I met a bunch of people, man. I met a lot of guys, man, that I still kind of contact with today. So it's pretty cool again to see us all grow up. And some guys went off for like maybe 8 years, and then they got their masters and came back and stuff like that. So it was just a maturation process, and that's one of the things. Now we've been in it so long, man. You see the young guys coming up, and like you just kind of sit back and like just let them talk. And the same way how Charlie did to me, I do the same thing. So like guys come to me and they don't know anything. I don't say, hey, I'm a pro drifter and all this crap. I don't introduce myself as a drifter. Yeah. And then they just start talking, and I'm like, yeah, cool, man. And then I was like, yeah, and it's like you can't really say much, because even as much as Charlie did give me advice, you're young, you're still gonna kind of try your own stuff and do your own thing and everything, and so they still do that, and they don't listen, and they go crash and come back, and I'm like, all right, so this is what happened, if I got time and everything, man. So yeah, man, it's just from that to that, and so for you drifting, did you do any other motorsports, or just because I've only known you as drifting? Have you done any rally or?
So I've done probably about 4 or 5 autocrosses. That was pretty boring. I got really into dirt rally. Not like rally cross.
Okay.
And I think I've done like 1 drag race. But the dirt rally is a lot like drifting, where like because of my BMW clout, apparently BMWs are real popular for rally chassis. I don't know why. Right. But like I just show up by myself, and half the guys knew me, and it was kind of like a drift event style atmosphere. While like autocrosses and HPDs and stuff, I found it hard for anybody to be willing to talk to you. Like a lot of people were there to race, and that was what they were doing, and I don't want to talk to you. But the dirt rally, it was like, yeah, let's go have fun and go play.
Right. Yeah, it's as you called it correctly, man. Like a lot of guys, like I noticed even in autocross atmosphere, because when I went to WDC region SCCA, and you were like that. You mentioned that was NASA, correct? Yeah. That you. So I didn't get around to NASA, but the SCCA event, there was nice guys there. I met the Garfield family, and I don't know if you know those guys, but they were pretty influential in the WDC region. But it also had that atmosphere, like, don't talk to me, I'm trying to get points, and I didn't know like there was actually a points thing. Yep. I just thought it was like you show up, so I just thought I was showing up and paying $40. But these guys are actually going for points for the regional level, then the nationals, and so they were. It was more, they gave me shit because I showed up in a 240 and I was scolded right away, like immediately. Yep. It was like, hey, if you drift, we're gonna kick you out. I'm like, dude, all right, man. Like, why? Cool.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna mark up the pavement. What difference does that make?
Yeah. And I end up because, I ended up kind of throwing it out a few times and like maybe laying in it when I shouldn't, And I got pulled over and scolded again, and then eventually I ended up turning like some decent laps and stuff like that. But it is what it is with that stuff, man. But kind of moving forward, man, because I know the time is kind of limited. Again, I see we're gonna definitely do this again, man. So
okay.
You know, my bad on being late. I'm trying to condense everything in there. But the again, man, from the one thing I want to ask you, man, because again, you've been in the game so long, you've seen a lot of stuff. What's your opinion on for D1, any of the, like, I guess the BDC, D1, FD, Japan, Philippines, wherever they're at? What's your opinion on the current status or state of drifting community and stuff like that? How do you feel everything is going?
Well,
yeah.
It's an opinion, right? Like I did I think 2 seasons as a crew member on the Siki FD team. So I got a lot of behind the scenes on that, and the drivers are really cool, and the series looks like a lot of fun. And then people have this whole thing of Japanese style drifting, like D1 versus FD, and the style difference to me is noticeable, and I think a lot of the tribalism is a little bit too divisive. Like people trying to make it like D1 is better than FD, and like FD's trying to make things more competitive and like be able to score on a piece of paper. And a lot of people consider that to take the heart out of drifting. And I can sort of understand that, but if you ever read like any of my blog posts and things like that, I'm really big into data. Like this year for FD, they're mandating a CAN bus log. So they can see, hopefully, if you're using like traction control and things like that. And to me, like being able to use that data to accurately help judging of like what was your steering angle at a given point, did you straighten out, is really good. But a lot of people see that as kind of killing the vibe of the sport. And then you go over to Europe, and James Dean's in, I forget the name of the series, but I watched a couple of events of it, and like every time they go around, fireworks go off. I'm like, on one extent, that's a little bit
over the WWE, WWF.
Yeah. But as far as like the spirit of drifting is concerned, like to me, watching that was a lot more entertaining than watching a run of FD, and then you see 2 people wait, and you wait for the judges to come back. So it depends. I like them all. I think there's space for everybody. D1, because what happened to Drift Muscle? Isn't that they got defunct, right?
I don't, dude. I'm in Japan and I don't know, man. Like it just what happened with a lot of things with Tsuchiya. Like of course, I got my pro license under King of Asia after trying for D1 for years. Like I told guys, I drove. I was in the same competition with Daigo. I was right behind Daigo Saito doing runs in the same event. Daigo, Nakamura, all these guys, and then I'm not allowed to drift in D1. It just doesn't make sense to me, man. And it's a plastic card that says you can drive with these guys under my series. So it's a money thing. It's a hierarchy thing. I understand. But as far as Drift Muscle, a lot of stuff with Tsuchiya, he left D1 for his reasons or whatever, which was change. And Japanese, you know more than anybody. Japanese don't really like change much. Yeah. And they still use fax machines. So anyway, a lot of stuff associated with Tsuchiya just seems to like dissolve, man, like quickly, and it's not really much reasoning behind. But as far as I know, Drift Muscle kind of I think is still around, but it's just not it's not heavily promoted. So it's pretty much MSC, and D1 Lights came back, and D1 GP, man. That's like the 3 in Japan, and there's a bunch of small series is like EDS now for Ibisu drift whatever, because after you remember the woman had died, Nico.
That was
so that season like was halted, and then of course D1 Street Legal was canceled, and then that stuff went down. So a lot of series is actually folded because they were required to have more insurance now. Well, like you said before.
But also like the Japanese way of doing things, they're different from here. Like the U.S., everybody's like ready to sue you at a moment's notice, and like part of the reason why the incident was allowed to happen in Japan is because like most of the time they didn't even care if you had a roll cage.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like they're there's a big push for kind of making drifting more accessible, because I think right now, even in D1, the pool of talent, like they're just the same old guys over and over again. No one's coming
exactly.
in. So even in the U.S., they're starting to do a lot more in like street legal series, where like some of the rules you literally have to drive your car to the event. Like IDC, the Irish Drift Championship, before they pulled it, I think. They had a rule where once you hit top 16, you can't change your rear tires. You have to do the rest of the competition on those two tires.
Wow.
But that makes things much more affordable, a lot more. It's like Japan. The average person doesn't have a driver's license.
Yeah,
like
that's true, man.
How are you supposed to get people to come drift when like people? Like, how much is it? It's like $10,000 or something for a manual driver's license.
I don't even like my license came because I was military, so I just swapped those over. So I avoided that whole thing. And actually, I have I can drive up to the largest truck with air brakes, like based on my license, because the gross vehicle weight in America and everything. So their system is totally glad I don't have to go through that. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's over here. It's most of the guys start with the motorcycle license, because I think it's really easy to get, and then I think under 200 cc's, 250, you don't require even the tags, or I don't. It's weird. So a lot of guys start with that, and then they get in. It's like weird how a lot of the drifters actually were like into motocross first.
Yep.
Team Orange, for example, were big motocross guys, which is why people wonder why they wear the motocross helmet. It's because of that. They're kind of paying homage to all that stuff. Yep. But they started that whole trend. Australia guys doing that and everything. But yeah, man, it's definitely, being that I started in the States, but I didn't really. I just got started and then I left. So I learned how to drift in Japan, believe it or not. Like, I mean, I was getting like the basics there in the States, and you guys helped me, but I learned how to drift in Japan because I had access to the tracks. Yeah. So it's what I see, man, is just it comes down to seat time, where Al guy here in MSP, he turned pro at like 17, and it's just how much time you can get on the track. Yeah. That's the only difference, man.
Well, and how much money do you have?
Yeah. So being working at a track, I mean, it's like, it's pluses and minuses to it, because I can see there was a time when even he had access to a track, but it seemed like he respected more or understood more how hard it was to do it if you weren't attached to a track and everything. So he would now he's older, he makes his own money and stuff like that. But before, he was like kind of, again, dad gave him the car. He just showed up and drove, and he drove well and everything. And again, for me being the 20-something going into 30-year-old at the time, looking now, like, man, this guy, man, what I mean? It's like it's just like he's far advanced just because he grew up at the track.
Well, but not only that, he has the car. Back in our day, when we first started off, we were learning together. None of us knew anything. You had like a VHS video, like an option video that someone sent over.
Yeah.
You spent like you were on LimeWire. You got a virus trying to download the Drift Bible.
Yeah. Bear share.
And we didn't know. Like, I was running on a 65 sidewall, 14-inch rear wheel for years before I realized the sidewall was killing me. And most people didn't even know that. They were like, oh, upsize to like maybe a 15. And so like after you left for a couple of years, we kind of grew as a community, and we all helped each other out. And then came the horsepower wars. Like if you had a motor swap when we first started out, that was like insane. If you had an SR in a 240, you were a god. And then everybody started doing RB swaps. That was hot for a while. And then there was probably like a 4-year span where we had more cars with cages and motor swaps than not. And then it became so unsustainable that like I keep tabs every year. We had about 80% turnover, where you wouldn't see the same people year after year. Like, they would come, do this massive overbuilt car, and there was one dude who had 500 horsepower running 275 tires. I asked him his tire pressure, and he goes, I don't know. And I got out of the car with him, and his very next run, he stuffed into a wall.
Yeah, man.
And then there was like the missile car thing, where everybody went to the opposite way, and it's now I think people are starting to come to their senses and do like simpler cars. But it's all about budget.
Yeah, and that's like, speaking on the LS, man. Like, for years, I never hated on the LS craze. I didn't, because I wasn't there, and it started coming over here, and it's like, let me look up this engine, man. Then I look it up, and the reason why is just it's a mechanics engine. It's is all the parts are readily available. Like the rebuild, I couldn't believe a full rebuild kit was roughly $1,500, which included the crank bearings, pistons, rods, everything. And I'm like, dude, $1,500 for all that stuff. And it's just, compared to like saying build a SR, build a RB, build a 2J, you're going to be up in the 5-6K category for a mid-tier level engine, man. So it's,
yeah, the problem with the LS thing, and that's like, we could do like a whole video just on that.
Yeah.
But like the problem with the LS is they come in too many cars. And,
right.
And there's like several different types of Gen 3s, and like there's two different Camaro LS1s where you don't want the ones like 98 and before, I think, where the cylinder wall is cracked. And then if you pick up a truck one, that's where you get the people who stick with the truck intake manifold, which sticks out the hood of the car.
Yep.
Like, you can do an LS swap if you're like really, really penny pinching, probably about $3,000. But you're gonna be lucky to break 250 wheel horsepower, and it's not gonna be reliable, and there's gonna be a hole in your hood, and it's gonna act and look terrible.
Yeah.
But
and it's like most guys, it seems like the sound. They just care about the sound. They don't really, it's not really making much power, like you said.
Yeah. Truth be told, I'm not super fond of the way the LS sounds. I have one. I drift one, and I like the down low grunt, like that deep howl. But to me, it's I drive a sleeper. It's not about looks. I don't really care much about the sound. I mean, quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing a Jay-Z at this point. Everybody's got a Jay-Z.
Yeah, it's I got that's why like you said, man. I like how you mentioned. Because I honestly thought you were like brand loyal to BMW, and you said that it's like I learned something new, and it's like you just have it. You just got all the stuff, you got all the parts. Like, why pick up a Pontiac Fiero? Like, that's not gonna. it has no correlation to what you do. So it's like that's for me, man. The same thing. I had a lot of Nissans, and people would just. I was labeled when I opened my shop because I had a bunch of GTRs here, and that was because everybody was getting the GTRs, and I was labeled like a Nissan guy. I'm like, nah, dude. I got Toyotas, I got Mazdas. I don't. For me, my thing, I come from Gran Turismo, and again, we'll talk from the Witch comment in a second, man, because I see it right there. But I come from Gran Turismo, and my thing was like, I want to own them all, man. I want to capture them all and see how this feels. I just got into an MR2 MRS for the first time like 3-4 years ago, and so now I always wanted to know how it felt. And like, all right, after like one session, I kind of, all right, MR is not bad, and I like never drove it before, and I like went from never driving it to pitting on the fastest lap at the track, and it was like 40 cars there.
It's weird.
And,
one of the good sides of me being an instructor, you'd be surprised how many people just throw me the keys. So I've
trust you.
Yeah, I've crashed people's cars. I'm not gonna lie. But I get to try lots of different cars and lots of different setups, and it
for free.
Yeah. MR2, dude, I cannot drift an MR2. That thing.
Yeah, the snap. It's like it snaps over before you even realize it. Once your brain realizes it, you're already like facing the other way.
The steering didn't want to. I don't know, because I can drift Miatas like nobody's business, and those things spin like tops. But something about like at the mid-engine, it's weird.
Yeah.
It spins weird.
Yeah.
The center of
it is
different.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. It was the first time I spun it, I was like, that's weird. And then when you actually drift it, it's like that fine line between your sideways and then like if you do one thing wrong, it just comes around. And the understeer is even weird too. But the it was a weird car and everything, man. So again, like, how much time you got right now, man?
I can probably do another half hour or so.
All right, awesome, man. So for the like I said, I just definitely wanted to let guys out there know that Yoshi's not a BMW loyalist. Those type of people, man, like I said, some people are cool, but a lot of guys, man, I don't get along well with people who just like Nissan or nothing, or Honda or nothing. It's just they're hard to talk to because you already know their mindset is locked in. They can't.
It doesn't even matter anymore, right? In the future, right? Like, so we came from 90s cars where there's a lot of rear-wheel drive cars to choose from. In all honesty, if Crowns were in the U.S., I'd probably be in a Crown right now. But if you think about it, like in the next 10 years, what's the next common drift car? You don't like BMW makes sense because you need rear-wheel drive, you need manual transmission, and you need some way to lock the rear diff. And so locking the diff, you just weld it or whatever. BMW sucks with that and whatnot, but rear-wheel drive and manual transmission, you know, like what car past 2010 can you?
Yeah.
You know, if here in the States, it's Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, and then like 370, 350Zs. So we're already seeing a ton of 350Zs that are coming down in price. But like I almost thought about a Ford Mustang because nowadays they're coming with the independent rear suspension because I hate solder axles. So I think that's gonna be an up and comer.
Yeah. Speaking of that, man, it's funny, man. I got an interesting story about JR, man, which I know he's an ultra busy guy now, but JR, I remember I was with a company. I don't know if you know these guys called Retro Graphics, and then Retro Graphics did JR's his library for the S13. I guess when he first did the SR20 swap. So the guy Rev, which is his name, he's located in Glen Burnie. And he did our graphics for our car team. And he's like, hey, I was doing a hot boy drifter. Like, yeah, I could do this and I could do that. I just got the 240. I sucked. And I was like talking to him like, again, I'm a drift master already. And he's like, hey, man, you should link up with JR, man. He might be driving for Falcon soon and stuff like this. I'm cool, man. I don't need to drive with this guy. And he was going to link us up, link me up to JR. And I didn't know he lived in Maryland, and everything. And shortly after that, man, maybe a few months, the Falcon Drift thing kicked off at FedEx, and I'm like, that's fucking the JR dude he was talking about in a Falcon car. And then after that, man, he just kind of like he just straight.
Oh yeah, immediately.
He was like an example, man, of one in a million shot where like you just got that ride and he took advantage of it. And if I'm correct, I think JR is like he was an IT tech guy, right?
He was a network administrator. And he had to take off time to go do some of the events, and I think he actually quit his job to go to an event in Texas.
Yeah, so I was like, he's in the computers, I'm in the computers, he drifts, and I'm pretty sure if I met up with him, and but now again, man, it's just you get to that point where you just got so much stuff going on, you're testing this, you're driving this, you're doing this interview, and it's like kind of like I missed my chance there to get because I understand when you start getting up there, man, you have to. Your circle gets smaller because everybody wants in or everybody wants to be on your team and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But maybe I'll link up with them. But yeah, man. Again, that was a cool how everything is connected, man.
Oh, yeah.
And this my whole thing for guys out there listening, man. Just be cool, man. Like it's no reason to try to pretend like you like your skills up there. Eventually you'll get there with time. But the yeah, man. It's everybody starts with somewhere, man. And again, you guys were pretty cool with that. But starting out, so like for me, kind of moving like changing gears a little bit. For me, my start with motorsports started again with Gran Turismo. That's when I first got into cars. I didn't know anything. My family was not, being a black guy from the inner city. Most guys were in the Crown Vics, drag racing. So I got Gran Turismo. I'm like, man, what's up with this Super? What's up with this car? What's up with this car? Then I just got interested in Japanese cars, and then that sparked everything, man. Everything that I have right now is as a result of Gran Turismo. So for you, what was your initial spark in the car, like getting into cars, and then you kind of mentioned that before.
Yeah.
And what was your the gaming player part in that, or when did you get into gaming, and what did you start to merge it to?
So the car stuff, like I worked on cars because I had to, not because I wanted to. And it wasn't a fun thing. I remember I was trying to change a distributor cap, and I couldn't. I stripped the bolt off it. And my neighbor comes by, looks at it, grabs the hammer, and just smashes it right off. And I was like, oh, that's how you work on cars. But like, what got me into it is, I played lacrosse in high school like you did, and I just wasn't a competitive person. Like I don't like pitting myself against other people, and so when it came to cars, drag racing and there you go. And stuff like that just didn't appeal to me. And when someone showed me drifting, it was like you versus yourself, which was always something I'm interested in, like bettering myself and things like that. So drifting was cool because, like, as long as you did better, it was good. And I went once just to go with some friends, and I got up at 4 a.m. to drive 3 hours to do 10 runs to drive all the way back, and it was a blast. Like I went one time and I did like one corner and spun out, and like that was the entire run. And I got back and everybody was like, "Dude, that was awesome! You were sideways." And I was like, "Yeah, I was." That's what got me hooked. The community, everybody was so happy. Everybody was so like you do the smallest bit of improvement, and everybody was cheering for you.
Yeah, and that's like you mentioned, man. That's like that's a perfect analogy, man. Like far as to just going there and getting better, and like you said, man, yourself. It's once you get, I guess, to an advanced level, then it's like, all right, cool. How much better I am than this guy? Then that's when competitions start. But like you say, when you first start out, it's like, hey, man, I spun out this week. Now I'm holding it. I'm not spinning all the way out. I'm just flat spinning.
Yeah.
Now you get to the point where you don't spin much at all, and then now it gets advanced to the point where when you crash at an advanced level, the car is pretty much totaled now. Like there's no, like you see the FD guys when they crash, dude, it's done.
Well, the problem with that is like you start spinning out. And then you get those people who are like, the car is wrong, not me. I need wise steps.
Yeah.
And that's where people go wrong. The level of entry of drifting to go from spinning out to even like mostly completing a course. Like the amount of work you have to do to get from point A to point B is much wider than a lot of people think. And they start going, oh, the car's the problem. I need to upgrade this. I need a bigger turbo, or I need.
Yeah, I see it a lot too, man, and I don't even waste my breath, man, because most people just gotta see that that's the wrong way to go about it. My approach, man, like you mentioned earlier, was you said the simple builds, and that's kind of been I can build. I got the shop, I have the skill sets, I can tune my engines, all that stuff. I can build 1,000 horsepower cars, but it's not maintainable for a long time, man. It's just not.
Oh, just in cost of the tires.
Yeah, it's just not maintainable. The axles, the stuff is going to break at that level, and most guys will see that. So for me, I stayed with the cave. Before I even turboed it. I was NA for about maybe 3.5, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went. I got used to the little power that was there. And Teach Brothers were one of the guys that made me stay non-turbo because they were drifting like the whole bank with an NA dual array cam KA.
Yeah, they won the first championship.
Yeah. And have you talked? Those guys still around, or are they?
Yeah, actually, I got pretty close ties with their family. Like their father found me the house I'm in right now, and they own an HVAC company, so they do all the work. So I see them all the time.
Because even back then, I remember them. They had the van. They would tow their car with the van.
Yeah,
there was HVAC back then, or what, plumbing or something like that. Or?
Yeah, A action heating and plumbing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So then again, it was I just met again, man. I'm so thankful for meeting you guys, and because you could meet so many different groups of people, and with the drag scene, I met a certain group of people, and that kind of like it swayed me one way, and then when I met you guys, it was like everybody was welcoming, everybody was open. There was the drag scene is kind of toxic, man, where it's really like, you can't check my engine out, you can't do this, and then dudes are racing for big money. That it was like a toxic scene, and then I met you guys, and it was just like, these guys are cool, man. It's like, hey, man, pop your hood. Yeah, man, sure, no doubt. And then it was a good thing for me because it showed me that there was different people out there, and you don't have to be a jerk, man. And that's kind of like the way I kind of keep it now. Like, I mean, there's times where, in the business stuff, I got to be stern, which you have to be for business. And then after you get past that and you lay down the rules, because people, like, when you first meet them, of course, they're gonna do what you allow them to do. And with the business stuff, that first meeting, I got to be like, this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. We can do this, and then after that, we can talk normal. But I gotta be a jerk sometimes, and to some people. Some people are cool and respectful, but some guys like, hey man, I'm gonna bring your car here. I'm like, nah, you're gonna schedule. Yeah. You don't just bring your car and show up and do work. That's where I'm at right now. But yeah, man, it's again, it definitely it definitely kind of helped me get to where I am today and stuff like that. For you, man, what do you see in your next, I'd say 5 to 10 years? What's your plan, or what's your for actual physical drifting? What's your plans for anything? Are you looking to do any local comps or any series, or just?
So like I'm not a competition type person. I look at like tandeming as me sharpening myself using someone else. So there's this whole thing with the E30 where I was trying to get it caged and then crashed it and then had to build another car. And so I'm finally getting to the point where the new car is caged and ready to go, and hopefully the engine holds together. So I'm trying to I'm just trying to do it for fun. Next 5 years, I'm trying to bang doors with people. I'm trying to see like what I can do. Hopefully I can, maybe make a sidecar. I love builds. I love building cars. So I kind of want to build a couple more cars and just get sideways. I got my son's 3 and my daughter just turned 9 months. So the next 5 years, the drifting is going to be a fun side thing, but I gotta do I want to watch my kids grow up, and I want to share that. So I'm trying to build a go kart for my son. Get the power wheels, start modding power wheels, stuff like that. I get him on the sim every now and then for him to get some seat time and stuff, and let's see where my kids go.
Right, and that's a cool thing, man. It's like kind of interesting. Like I see a lot of parents, man. They push their kids, not even kind of like I'm gonna have them do this. And now it's like when they come out, it's like I'll show them what I do, and I'll let them kind of choose.
Yep.
They don't have to do drifting. They don't have to do martial arts. They don't have to do music. I'll introduce them to it. Then they'll be like, all right, cool. Because I see a lot in Japan. Like I mentioned, like the guy Matsunori at my local track who's 17, 16 years of pro.
Yeah.
The guy's only like 24, 25 now, and he got like gray hairs, man. Like gray strands, like full gray hairs because so much stress. I mean, he's good and he's won a bunch of competitions and got a lot of awards and everything. But it was like so much stress as a kid that now he's 25 or something like that, and he's like seems almost burnt out.
Man, I got gray hairs too.
I'm 37.
It's a Japanese culture. Yeah, you got gray hairs. It looks kind of red to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when my face hair and everything is getting there. But yeah, man, like you mentioned the sim. So for the sim thing, right now you're doing I see you started a group, which I got to join. Right off the bat, because you're using Asseto Corsa as a base, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to do Asseto Corsa and also port it to iRacing so that people can actually use it for competitive racing.
Okay. And so like I've had a little grudge against those guys initially because I had my guy Andrew Dotson who did all the designs for all the R Factor and the Live for Speed. That guy, all the badass tracks. This guy was a designer, and I got with him. We made MSP to a T with my notes. His skills, and it came out amazing, man. Like even the bumps, the dips, everything. Cause I tried the Richard Burns, or not Richard Burns, but the Track Maker, and after about a week, I'm like, nah, man. The car kept falling off the little fake track, and it was just bad. Yeah. And I couldn't connect the roads, and I tried to use the GPS, the VR vector, or whatever, and that just bad. So I got with him, dude. Within a day, he already had like the whole track. I'm like, dude, how do you like? I was like, all right, cool, just do it, man. So anyway, we made the track, R Factor, and right after that, man, like Asseto Corsa never asked permission, man, and they made their own version MSP. I mean, I don't like boasting, but I'm just the only guy who had the most footage of MSP on YouTube. There was no other people posting like that. When there was in record, it was a VHS quality stuff like that, and so they, I contacted the guys, and I didn't want money. I didn't want anything because it's not my track. It's just that they kind of they just like yanked MSP and then they didn't get permission. And then of course you could tell it's not made to scale. It's not exact. So of course, that's the rules. If it's not exact, it's not the whole thing. So I had a grudge against those guys, but because you're doing this now, I might have to get over that because I definitely want to participate, man. But it's cool what you're doing. So what's your goal with what are you trying to accomplish with this thing, and what do you want to go with that?
Man, I got hobbies left and right. Like this thing behind me is a 3D printer. I just get every hobby under the sun. And I've had the steering wheel for a number of years. Like you, I did Gran Turismo, so like that's how I played Gran Turismo. And I played Spirit JP. They're one of the series down in Richmond. So I played on their servers for a little bit. And Asseto Corsa is like a $20 game. It was like $4 for the track pack or the car pack. Right. And I was pretty impressed with how true to life the game actually felt. Like you're not getting G-forces and stuff, but and then you watch YouTube videos and a lot of pro drivers in the off-season are doing it. So I'm trying to do that to learn how to tandem while I'm not on track. Cheap seat time is a go-kart place near me. You try to get seat time everywhere, and a sim it's not the same. Right. But it's still training. You still got to turn the steering wheel. The force feedback is actually consistent.
It's getting better,
Yeah. And eventually I want to do like a VR setup and things like that. But it's just good practice. And Asseto Corsa it's got like a really good drift community. I don't know why the drift community picked that particular game. It's that and Forza. And I'm not sure if I can port my levels to Forza or whatever, but I wanted like my tracks. And I was like, why isn't Summit Point on?
Right.
Like, why hasn't anybody done this? So I'm actually still trying to get it. I think R Factor, it might have been iRacing, already scanned the track. They went around the track with like this $60,000 LiDAR thing and like to the millimeter scanned every bump and crevice in the track. And if I can get that data, I can put stuff together. But the goal was to be able to promote Drift Nirvana and Summit Point as a whole digitally. Like, I played the Spirit track. They're in Richmond. It's a really small kind of like parking lot track. But just turning a couple laps on it really made me want to go. And I figure, well, why not do the same thing with Summit? So, people can be competitive on it and try to actually, there's league racing with iRacing and stuff like that. And why not? So, I hooked up a bunch of sponsors, which, like sponsors do, they just it's really hard to pitch to sponsors, hey, I'm going to make like a digital version of this racetrack, and I'm going to put your logo for your company on some jersey barriers and stuff, and in return you give me like $500 or $1,000, which to you and me, tons of people download this level and they're going to see, and they'll it's branding and whatnot. But no one really seemed to want to do it, so I broke down and did a GoFundMe, and I went through. Like, I found people who did this professionally. There are people who've done, like, there's, like, the classic 90s track Packers, man. It's a bunch of toge. And so I found 4 different guys, and every single one of them was like, yeah, let me think about it. And they told me no. Like, I'm going to pay you money. I have the money to pay you to do this. Can you do this? And and the last guy I found is so pro that I think he wanted $5,000 to $10,000 per track.
Wow.
And I was like, I got money.
Yeah.
I can't get that.
Yeah, that's real life stuff.
Yeah.
What I'll do, man, like I say, on my end, one thing is I'll definitely, because I don't know, like we'll talk offline about that a little bit as far as the sponsor stuff, because I'm kind of like as far as my shop is doing good. I got one driver I'm working on right now, but I'm not doing the thing where I have a sponsor like for drivers, like want to be like Mishimoto kind of, you know, like they have 80,000. It's a nice tactic, but I'm not going that route, man, with my company. But the definitely interested in doing something like some networking with that stuff. I mentioned my guy Andrew Dotson, Dunson. I'll link you with him. I'm not sure if you got a guy, but I'll link you with him, man, because again, this guy, when you see all these tracks, the Kansai Toll Road, this guy is just, he's good, man.
Hey, if someone's better than me, because right now I found the US GIS, I just downloaded their elevation data, and that's what I've been going on for the track. So like I'm doing it like pixel by pixel, vertex by vertex. It is painful. I'm not a 3D modeler. But
I'll get you with him, because he did. I mean, I don't. This was back in 2012 or 11 when he did it, and he did the MSP track start to finish, 2 weeks. I just gave him video, data, notes, 2 weeks done.
Yeah.
And pictures and everything, man. The billboard. So I don't know his status now. I think last time I seen, man, he was doing it so much, man, where it started consuming his life.
Yeah.
And he kind of like, he posted up that I'm going to step back. I don't know if he's refreshed now, but I'll link you up with him, man, and you guys can talk or whatever.
Yeah.
Very awesome guy. And again, man, the MSP track, again, if you go on, I don't know if you've seen R Factor MSP, but if you go there and see it, yeah, dude, he nailed it, man. And I'm like, bro, this right there is, everybody's good at something, and I'm like, I'm good at a lot of things, man, but I got too much on my plate to try to get good at this.
Yeah.
Let me turn it over to the pro,
and
let him do it. And he didn't charge me anything, so maybe he'll do it for $500. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, as long as it's not $10,000.
No, I highly doubt it's $10,000. But again, it's been years since I talked to Antu and everything. But anyway, I'll link you up with him after that, and also for the I'll get the links and stuff for you for the page. I can put that in the description so the people out there who do tuning can follow that. But again, man, I'm definitely because I got my Sims downstairs. I got the Sims. I got the GT Sport they're linked up and everything, and I'm gonna get another one with PC. So I'll have the PC version on there as well to link up with the because the version you're playing with is Asseto Corsa PC, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so naturally, so I'll get that. And what kind of wheel is that you have right there?
So this is a Logitech G27 I bought a while ago.
G27?
Yeah.
It looks different from the side.
Oh no, it's I put on a real steering wheel.
Ah, okay.
So I 3D printed an adapter.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So that looks. Well, how did you did you maintain a button still, or you got the?
Yeah, it's just kind of like taped onto the steering wheel.
Okay.
It's not great, but you don't really need those buttons. I honk at people and turn on and off my lights. That's about it.
I need a e-brake. I'll make my own. You got the e-brake mod or?
No, it's a joystick. It's a $15 joystick. And you just pull that.
Yep. Yeah, so I found. I guess you bought one of those and I trashed it, but yeah, it's the same thing as USB signal, pulled it back and everything. But I just recently downloaded the Drift Car X on PS4, and surprisingly, man, it's really good. Like I seen a bunch of people play it, and it's it's. Have you tried it yet, or you've seen it?
No, I haven't had much time to game on pretty much anything.
Yeah, but it's I just got it from my customers, but it actually. I love Gran Turismo. I'm really good in grip, but drifting, man, it's much better now. But I don't know what it is.
Gran Turismo's drift mode, they do something to the physics to make it drift, so it never felt right.
Yeah. The new one with the wheel, with the controller is no problem, but the wheel is very. You have to. It takes practice. My guy Alexis he drives like program level in real life, and he's really really good in the Witchcom. But the Car X, man, for some reason on the same PS4 platform, with the settings, it's more kind of PC because there's a port from the Android or whatever.
Okay.
And I don't know what it is, man. Within 10 laps, dude, I was like full countering, full like I was in it. So at first I'm like screwing up. Then I'm like, dude, let me do what I do in real life, and I just I flick in, I rotate it, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is like, they got it, man. And so it's like the new games again. Asseto Corsa, R Factor, Live for Speed. Asseto Corsa is again kind of reigning out as the top for most of them. So I'll definitely get on there and host some. Or if you guys have any events that's virtual, I'll probably get on there and stuff like that. But it's definitely cool, man. And like you said, it's nice that you have that option to do off-season seat time. And then you see like guys like Richard Hamilton getting involved with GT Sports. And yeah, man, it's like it's different. Not say Richard. Who's the guy? Richard Hamilton or Richard Lewis? What's the F1 dude that young guy? Lewis Hamilton. Goddamn. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Sorry about that, guys. The F1 guys are mad at me right now. But anyway, I just started getting F1 a few years ago, so I don't know all the guys. But yeah, man, it's definitely a different thing. It's not looked down upon like otaku, like otakus don't talk to those guys. It's accepted now.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah. You see all these guys online getting rigs now though, and getting like little TV setups, and it's like, oh, I want one, and everybody gets one, and then they come to my shop and see it. But yeah, man, it's definitely a cool thing. I'll definitely promote it as much as I can. I'm interested. I didn't see your post about the sponsor thing until after you had already started the GoFundMe thing. Yeah. But I'm definitely, if there's an opportunity to get my shop out there and also work with you and help your thing along, man, I'm definitely interested. The funds, again, for me, honestly, I don't lie to anybody. Like you say, not being a hot boy, it takes a lot of money to run this business, and I take care of the basics of that, and then after that, everything else I kind of expand on. For example, I don't even have shirts yet for my business. It's 4 years because I don't see the reasoning behind spending $2,000-$3,000 on good shirts and then not selling them. That's so I gotta. So now people want them and things like that. But we'll see, man. We'll definitely get on that. I know you're about close to your time. You got to get out of here.
You got to make dinner.
And we're close. Yeah, we're close to an hour, man. But again, we did this 57 minutes here. I kind of so much more I want to talk about with you, man. And we'll definitely do this again. And probably have like a few guided questions I'll ask you and everything to kind of, because this was just off the top. Yeah. I didn't have anything. I don't have any notes here. I just and it's crazy, man. We've known each other since 2000. I think I joined the forum maybe 2000 what?
5 or 6.
Yeah. Well, I was on the forum, and then 5 or 6, and then about 2005, right before I went to the military, I was still in college, University of Maryland, and I met you guys, and then I met you guys in person for the first time at the ODS, and then after that I just left, man. So like we didn't really get to like physically know each other.
Yeah.
We known each other. We at least got to meet you and shake your hand, Daryl. So you're not like a Facebook guy. I've known him for 15 years and never met him, and that's kind of a weird thing when you first meet people in real life.
I think one of my first memories of you doing the clutch, and I'm like, why are you doing the clutch right here in the middle of the track?
Yeah.
What are you? You're never gonna finish this.
And I did.
And somehow you did. Somehow you did, and that blew me away.
Yeah, because that was at that point, man. I'd done about maybe 8 clutches, man, because I kept getting like shitty clutches and I kept swapping. I swapped the engines a bunch by that time. I had my final version of KA before. Was it turbo at that time? I can't remember.
As far as I knew, it was always turbo.
Yeah. So when I met you guys, I just went turbo. That year, and that was like the first of like 3 setups, and I did a bunch, and the turbo was blowing clutches, man. So I was swapping clutches in like 30 minutes. And then also I didn't put the top 2 bolts in. That's the secret. That's the secret.
I'll remember
for
that.
my customers out there, I'll put your bolts in. So don't worry about that, man. Even though you don't need the top 2 bolts, you just need the side ones and the bottom ones. You're all good, man. So again, Yoshi, man.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can come back anytime. I mean, this goes up on YouTube and stuff, right? So people just leave comments or whatever. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything. I've been behind the scenes on the FD stuff. I don't know how many people you've had on the podcast have done FD stuff, but I've been to a ton of rounds, and that's a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. You're the second guy. The other guy is Lexus, he spotted for JTP, and he's right. So Lexus, I'll be doing a kind of a post because I want to get into FD because my plan is to come over and do Pro 2 as things level out with the business, and I'll probably talk to you and him if there's some controversial stuff like, hey, what's your thoughts? And it's nice to have, even though you guys are known and respected in the community, everybody has a different thing. Maybe you'll feel like he did it because of this. So that's my thing. I want to get into it, kind of break down things. Yeah. And I'll tell you straight for the guys out there that's watching, because more FD guys are going to be watching this because you're involved with it. But FD is better than D1 right now. and there's no foreseeable. Nah, I don't. I'll tell, dude. I'm in Japan. I'm American. I run a shop, dude, and I'm looked down upon. I'm not taken seriously, and I love Japan, but I don't like the way that they act like everything they do and touch is gold, man. Yeah. And I make a point to let them know, man, that number one, like you got companies like Siki, who they won't ever post on their thing, but they're running Siki products. They got American products, quick diff changes, all that stuff, but they make a habit of not really putting it out there, but they'll post this HKS part that's insignificant, but it's HKS, and they'll give major props to their companies, and they don't understand that Australia, Europe, New Zealand are making much stronger, better, cheaper parts than what they're putting out right now. So the swap kits, all that stuff is coming from America now, man, and in former drift cars and things like that, or Kubo said himself, man, he's seeing the cars like, dude, these cars blow D1 cars away. Like straight up, man.
Well, but also like nowadays everybody's got like an Instagram and stuff. Like the Japanese drivers, like their websites are 1990.
Oh, dude.
No social media. It's hard to consume the media from D1.
Right. And no build threads. Like nothing. It's like no documentation. There's no digital footprint. It's just like they do it, and you see it in the magazine, and that's it. And of course, you got the forums where you can say, hey, man, everybody has the same issues. It's just different over here where they don't do forums. They don't do.
Dude, I've been trying to like Evisu. I've been there a couple of times, and I'm like, how do all these people know this stuff? Like there has to be a forum where people gather. There's a Facebook group or something.
SMS.
Yeah, they don't do any of that stuff.
It's magazine. It's still the magazines are still heavy over here, but not really. I've done a few Drift and Goku magazine editions, and it really hasn't generated much buzz, but Option magazine is like where a lot of information is disseminated. So Option is like the king. So if you get an Option magazine, you'll get stuff put around and everything.
That's top down. I want like what are the average drifters doing in Japan? Like I should be able to read online what people are doing. I can't find it.
Yeah, they're starting. They're starting to do the Facebook stuff. Like most tracks have a Facebook page, but it's. You look at it, the last activity has been 2014.
Yeah, always.
They don't update it, and So they're starting that, man. The ones that are doing well are utilizing social media well, and they're coming out. But I was telling guys again, I've been open for 4 years. I've already outgrew my shop in 3 years, and that's all because of social media, man. If I didn't have a Facebook, I would not be here, straight up, man. So my customers coming in, they see the Facebook posts, they see the Instagram posts. Guys come from all over to come to my shop because of that. And you know what I mean? I'm the only shop in Japan that has an app. The only shop in Japan of top secret. Ariyamamiya. All these shops, I have a mobile app, the only shop, and they make way more money than I make.
Yeah, and every Japanese person, they're buried in their phones. You see everybody on the train, they're buried in their phones.
Yeah. So it's so right now the only thing, if I wish my Japanese was as good as yours. I got my wife and everything, but I got good translators, which I got, having a translator is cool, but translator that knows car parts is vital. And I have a guy that he's a drifter and he knows English and Japanese because
It just pronounced it with a bad Japanese accent. That's what I found out. Most of the terms are the same, like the word acronym, right? You know the Japanese word for acronym?
I don't.
Akaman.
Akaman.
That's it.
Yeah, spark plug, like they call it sparku plug, or the biggest thing out there, guys. If you come over here, a drive shaft, they call an axle a drive shaft, and then they call a drive shaft a prop shaft. So when you go to order parts, you keep saying drive shaft, they're gonna give you an axle. So it's little small things, or engine seal, or engine bearing, it's different, it's different. Same terminology, but everything's different. But hey, man, I don't want to definitely I don't want to extend under. Gotta cook dinner. I know how it is, man. It's 7:20 a.m. here. I gotta go back and take the kids to daycare actually, and then come back and open the shop at 9. So hey, man, again, thanks, man. It's been fun. Sorry about the technical difficulties when we first started, and but again, man, just closing out, just let people know where they can find you at on social media, and then also when you get done, just send me the links and I'll put them at the bottom.
Okay. I represent Drift Nirvana, so that's at summitpointraceway.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Yoshi Jeffery, spelled Jeffery the correct way, and then Protomor anywhere on the internet, Protomor. Google me anywhere, you'll find all my stuff.
Yeah, you've been around, man. Like you're a modest guy, man. You're not a boastful guy, man, but you're definitely you're definitely a staple guy in the drift scene. No matter, I'm pretty sure people told you that before. If they haven't, I will tell you that. So you're definitely a vital guy, man. So saying that, man, like guys, if you come in contact with Yoshi, man, definitely feel free, within reason, to pick his brain. I'm pretty sure he'll give you good information and everything. And tell you to run those 15-inch, the 165 sidewall, big fat sidewalls and stuff like that and everything. So, but anyway, guys out there, again, thanks for tuning in for this quick podcast. The audio will be up, of course. Always, guys, audio always comes up before the video because audio is audio. The video requires some compression and stuff like that to get the best quality out there. So, video is almost always a day or 2 days after that for this. I got a lot of stuff to do today, so probably it might be up maybe Sunday or something like that, or earlier. But it just comes out, man. There's no set times and just whenever I can get to it.
All right.
So anyway, guys, again, Yoshi, thanks for coming in. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to send the questions and everything to Podcast at pinkustyle.com, and I'll get to them. And any questions you got about setups, anything, I'll answer it. I haven't got any questions, so I'm not going to make up any questions like guys with a blank sheet of paper. I don't do that stuff, man. So if I got any questions, I just don't get any questions. I'll ramble about whatever. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Drive safe out there, and get ready for the springtime and everything. So get those builds started, or get them finished and everything. So
finish your build.
4 years later, or something like that and everything. So again, see you guys later, and I'll be back soon enough with another guest and everything. But Yoshi will be here again. So again, guys, take care, and it's gonna be a salute from South Japan, Pinku Style. Donald Jackson signing out.
Hi, my name's Yoshi, and this is my 89 325 BMW. It's got an LS2 swap, 4-clutch LSD in the rear, an SLR angle kit, and some ground control coilovers.